Hi, I'm Amy Finley, and I'm here with Leah Spinrad, and we're just doing a little intro topic on menu planning today. And I want to just say the reason I have Leah on with me is because I took a class with her, what was it, like a month and a half ago, or something like that. It wasn't that long ago, this summer, on menu planning, and it's totally changed my world. It's been really, really, really helpful. But seriously, I mean, my grocery bill is about half of what it was, so that was definitely a whoa moment. And but also we're just eating so much better, just by nature of thinking ahead and having the ingredients for really good food on hand. So I thought I really wanted to share this with my friends, and so I started telling, I've just been telling the cashier at the checkout, I've been telling everybody, check out these menu planning sheets and stuff.
With my name on it.
I know, like your biggest promotion here. But I'm really that excited about it because it's been just so awesome for me. And Sheldon can tell you, we just are eating so well lately, and to be able to say that, and that my grocery bill has gone down dramatically. Even less than half. I haven't done the numbers, but I think it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if some weeks it seems like it's like a third of what I usually spend. So it's like pretty amazing. So Leah, do you want to tell us about what you do?
Okay.
So give a little bit of what you do as an introduction, because you can explain it better than me. You call yourself a food empowerment mentor?
Yes, I am a food empowerment mentor. And what that means is that I help women specifically heal their relationship with food. So whether that be a traumatic experience that happened when you were younger, a lot of us were told, eat more than you want to, or we were given restrictions on what we could eat, and so we all have these food baggages, and it's very difficult to just eat. Just eat what you want to eat and eat what's healthy for you. And what I do is I help women through a combination of really specific strategies like weekly menu planning and also energy work and coaching, move past a lot of these blocks so that you can just be. That's it. So this weekly menu template is part of my 7-step joyful eating program. And this is the 3rd step. So after we work through a lot of emotional stuff, then it's time to get down in your kitchen, figure out what you're going to eat and what works for you. And this system I developed for myself, and I did see my food bill go down quite a lot when I developed it. And it's basically riffing off of what people do in restaurants when they're going to do their meal planning. They always have to take stock of what they have, what they're going to need.
So let's take a look at how this works.
All right.
We've got a couple of sheets here. The menu planning sheet. Now these are really simple ideas. The sheets themselves are not like anything unusual. We've got just the basic, or do you want to?
Sure, yeah, this is just the grid of your 3 basic meals, and then a place for you to write in what snacks that are going to be available and what treats there are. This is really great if you're making all of the food decisions for your family, so that you can post this on the fridge and then they know what there is for snacks, so they're not going in and taking your lunch ingredients when they're looking for snacks. And then underneath we have the shopping list and the inventory list. And it's divided up into vegetables and fruit, pantry goods, meat and fish, dairy and eggs, and frozen items. And if you're, a vegetarian, or vegan, you can kind of figure out where things work for you. Under meat and fish is where you want to put all your protein sources. That makes sense. If soy milk goes under dairy, just figure out what makes sense for you.
I am vegan, and I think I've realized that the other category that I would replace, obviously, is the dairy and eggs, but the category that I have been using it is just for the non-food items that are sort of in the middle of the store. This is organized by the store, by the way. This is one of Leah's brilliant ideas, is to just break down your shopping list by the store. It makes shopping really easy. That's been great.
Yeah.
The category I would I've been using has just been, I guess, health and beauty or
Yeah,
other
toilet
kind
paper.
of toilet paper. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Can
I
go
put
on
those
there.
in pantry goods.
Yeah,
So
that's what
it
I
just
have
kinda
been doing.
makes-
But that section's getting really big for me
It'll be like
for
the
some
most
reason.
full one a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing inventory. And so that brings us to the first piece of the system.
Right.
I will use the top of the list for inventory before I make my meal plan. So I'll write down what I've got. So last week, I bought collard greens, but then we never got around to cooking the collard greens. I put that here. The first time you do this, you'll end up with a lot of inventory, but as you do it more and more, that becomes less and less important because you know what you have. The first time you'll find things that you never thought you could use, like that free turkey you got at Thanksgiving that's in the freezer, or you'll be like, oh, I've got this weird rice mix that my mother-in-law gave me, and you never think you're going to use it, and then you're like, you got it on your list. You're like, what can I do with this?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to use this?
Starting point, and it's
And that brings you to actually making a menu plan, which is when we bring this back in. So you fill out the top with what you've got in-house, and then you go back to having fun with your menu template. Right. And this is where you've been having a lot of fun with your cookbook.
Yes, I've actually, it's kind of funny, I was confessing that my inventory sheet has been completely blank. She does the inventory on the top part, and then the shopping list goes below it, all the items you need. And mine, I could show you, it's pretty, it's kind of amusing. It's all of my writing is on the bottom of the page because there's just no inventory happening, but that's okay. But yeah, I've been doing, and the reason there's no inventory is because I've just been having so much fun just finding good recipes I want to make, and not so much focusing on using up stuff.
Yeah.
But actually the way I've been kind of doing it is I don't plan, it's a little much for me I don't fill in every spot in the menu sheet, and of course everybody can do what they want for as far as how much, right?
Yeah.
To plan.
Yeah.
But then the blanks are just kind of what I have left over that I didn't plan for. It just kind of gets used up.
I find I plan breakfast and lunch on the weekends because I tend to have a lot of weekend guests. So I'll plan out those meals so that I know that we're all going to eat
so
well
when you come.
There's no food. But during the week, you eat either leftovers or something. A lot of people don't necessarily need to plan out their lunches, but I always end up doing it for the weekends.
You had some good tips in our class about kind of prioritizing the meals.
Yes, especially when it comes to produce. So when you're planning out what you're going to be eating, especially if you're going to go shopping every other week, which is the best way to save money, absolutely, hands down, you will spend so much less money if you go shopping every other week, not every week. But if you're doing that, you need to really manage your vegetables and your fruit because you don't want everything going bad in the first couple of days. So I prefer heartier lettuces like romaine and arugula because they'll last for 2 weeks. And then I'll get tender stuff that I'm going to use right away. So if I have asparagus or corn in season, I'm going to eat that the day I got it. I'm not going to wait. I want it right away. However, if I know, I've got collard greens. I keep talking about collard greens. I'm really excited about collard greens. If I've got collard greens, I know they're going to last for a while, so I'll put them at the end with a squash, something that I can get at the beginning of the 2 weeks, and they'll still be nice and fresh and delicious by the end.
Right. Excellent. Yeah. Yes. And and the fresh corn and the things you really want to eat right away. You'll know to plan your dinner and lunch the first day. This is how you usually organize it, right? Mm-hmm. You just have
I'll put the days
shopping
of the
day
week in there.
Okay.
For myself, or it depends on what my schedule is like. Sometimes I just kind of put meals in and then I pick them up when I can make them. If I'm not really sure what I'm doing from week to week or from day to day, I'll be like, oh, Monday's actually going to be a really hectic day, so I'm not going to try to make risotto, which is going to take 2 hours. I'm going to throw in something that takes very, very little amount of time.
Right. Yeah. And I was
going to say the other thing is things like fresh fish. If you want to get something that you want really fresh, you put it at the beginning. It's pretty much a concept of, fresh in the beginning, things that store well. If you have frozen foods, those can go right at the end. It's really...
there's a lot to be said, I feel like, for kind of sitting down and doing it. Like we talk about all these ideas, and the hardest part is to kind of your brain gets used to it. I feel like I've already kind of got it down after a few weeks of like, there's some things I'm doing automatically, like planning the half an hour meal for the really tight days, and versus the 1 hour, the first few weeks of like having the 1 hour meal on like the Wednesday. That's not going to happen. So just doing it, and it kind of starts to integrate.
And give yourself a lot of time for the plan. I think that's something that you said to me immediately, was that you thought it should take you 5 minutes or something.
Yes.
And it doesn't, because you're taking away all of the decision making that you make every single day. So if you think about how much time that generally takes you, 20 minutes every day to be like, what am I going to make for dinner? You can compress that time, so you end up spending less time. But when you sit down to do it, it can take an hour, it can take 2 hours. Get a cup of tea, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it's a 2 to 3 hour process for me, and I found that helpul. I, had expectations of like that I should just be able to do it in a quick time, and it wasn't happening, and I didn't really know why.
It does take me half an hour now.
Yeah,
it really does. Unless I'm like, okay, I'm branching out, I get a new cookbook, I want to do something new, because then you're also going from having your meals plan to making your list for every single thing you want to get. So if you're using new recipes, you have to look at the recipes, write down what you've got, see if you've got it in inventory. There's a whole lot of managing that goes on that after a while becomes quicker and easier and faster to go, okay, well, I know these recipes, I know that they need, these herbs, and I know that I have them, so I don't have to put them on the list. But at first it's like, do I have it? Do I need it? And that's where you really do it gets easier, faster, and you get even more efficient in terms of what you have in inventory and what you're buying.
Right. Yeah. And my, I feel like with the cookbooks have actually been like my mode. I mean, I'm sure there's different approaches. Like, if you're really basing it on inventory, it seems like you kind of need to think outside the cookbook a little bit. Like, what recipe can I think of that has tofu in it, that has, sweet corn, and all these things I need to use up or whatever. So that's like a kind of a different process than the cookbook process, I feel like, a little bit. And do you have any tips on that in terms of finding the recipe or thinking of the recipe? Like, I know there's allrecipes.com. You can search probably by ingredient there.
You can definitely do that. What I'll do is I'll base things around a specific ingredient. So if it's tofu, I'd be like, okay, well, I found that I had some tofu in the back of the freezer, especially at the beginning. I had tofu at the back of the freezer, and it's frozen, so the texture is different than when it's fresh, and what am I going to do with that? And then you can start looking into cookbooks and looking into what you already know, because we know a lot about food, we all do. It's just sometimes a matter of trusting that how to make a recipe up.
Right.
You just need to sometimes you need to
and
make
what can you squeeze the tofu into that you already cook, or that's in the recipe book? You can add it or whatever.
And you know that you specifically like this one tofu dish that has ginger in it, and you've got ginger, but you don't have all the other ingredients. It's like, well, what else could I put in? What vegetables could I switch out here? What could I do to really experiment and play with food?
Right.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah, and that's really great when you're also operating with like a farm share or something, and you've got
a lot
of stuff in your fridge that you kind of need to do that dance of like,
stuff you might not know what to do with
things
before.
Right.
You're like, what is this kohlrabi thing, and what do I do with it?
Right.
And then the internet is invaluable. The internet is amazing for that. You're like, what the heck do I do with the kohlrabi? And then there's like 5,000 people who are like, kohlrabi fan says, you put it in your soup, and then you've got all these ideas. So definitely turning to the internet is great. And if you have your favorite cookbooks or your mom's recipes or something that you really would love to use, by all means.
Like, man, if you can find a good cookbook author that you groove with, it makes the whole process so much easier. And then I realized also, like, I never really take cookbooks out of the library, but when you're doing menu planning, it's the perfect opportunity
to get your ideas. I like to look through cookbooks and just get ideas for things that I didn't think of. I got a new cookbook out of the library on Saturday, and I opened it up, and the first thing I saw was oven carrot cumin fries. cut carrots and you like drench them in oil and cumin and you put them in the oven. I was like,
sounds good.
I want that, but I didn't. But I had squash, so I was like, well, carrots and squash are similar enough, and so I did it with the squash, and it was delicious. So a lot of it's just getting the ideas of going, all right, I didn't actually think of doing that
going
before.
for the palate and the spicing, and then just subbing in. Yeah. So like literally on my sheet, these are all recipes from the same book, and even the breakfast. I'll show you the book just because I'm using it, and you're probably wondering what this is. This is it's called Veganomicon. It's vegan recipes that I like. Well, I'll just mention it. That's all I have to say about that. We all have such a different food taste, so I'm not pushing it.
Yeah, my favorite cookbooks are all by Patricia Wells, and they're all provincial French. The last week I've been really busy in my office doing like a lot of computer stuff, and I actually don't have the energy to do a lot of cooking after I do that. So I've been making really quick meals, like 15-minute meals, 10-minute meals, things that do rely on some pre-made, prepackaged foods. And to know that and to have a plan for those foods is really great. And to be able to be like, you know what, that's fine. I will buy the prepackaged, like pre-cut vegetables this week because I'm not going to want to be cutting them. And then next week, I'll maybe, if I'm feeling like it, get into much more detailed recipes and spend a lot more time making dinner. And so that's a really great way to just honor where you're at and keep cooking fun for you, not stressful.
And I just thought of 2 more tips, actually. I just remembered that I've kind of come across, which is one was to like the thing. I use a lot of pre-made, like pre-baked ingredients. I like to have like baked, some already baked potatoes, some already, like I'm making pumpkin muffins this weekend, and to just, I had the oven on today, and so I put the pumpkin in. That I have a pumpkin, so I'm like, okay, pre-bake it, because then I don't want to be doing that on Sunday morning or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I've been doing is actually writing it at the bottom of the sheet here underneath the dinner. Oh, the oven's gonna be on this day. I'm just gonna write a note in the dinner slot, like bake some potatoes, bake some or whatever. Yeah, and that's been like kind of excellent. Yeah, and also I like to have the potatoes because they're a really good way to do home fries. I've found, because home fries can take a long time, but if they're just being browned, then it's fast and really good.
That actually reminds me, I have a women's circle on Thursday night, and so I don't cook on Thursday night. I'll make dinner on Wednesday night for Thursday night, so I'll make 2 dinners at once.
Oh, nice. Or
we'll eat hard-boiled eggs the next day.
Right.
But usually I try to like make a soup or something that'll be great to sit, and then we'll eat it the next day, because I have a total of 5 minutes to eat dinner that day.
And what was the other thing? I said 2 things. Well, maybe they'll come to me, but yeah. So I'm just trying to think if there's any more tips.
Yeah. My last tip, my favorite tip is the way that I design this. It is for the store. So you walk into vegetables and fruit, then as you're going through the aisles of the pantry, you hit the meat aisle, you hit the dairy aisle, and then go to frozen last, obviously. And you can fold this up accordion style, which is kind of cool.
Which I did, although not as neatly as I could have, but not along the dotted line.
Yeah, I do it on the dotted line. And then it's just a little list, and you can open up kind of like a book, and you're not carrying, this is just, I'm always going kind of quick through the store, so I don't really want to have to manage this whole piece of paper. I like when it's small and I can go
it's like
things.
a neat little shopping list. Yeah,
and
I like that.
If you just keep buying everything that's on your list and you go through the store kind of quickly, there's no way you can't save money. Because most of the time we're like, do I need orange juice? Well, I'm just going to get it because I might.
Right. Yeah, that's actually, I think that did occur to me that's a huge point in terms of why it's cost less. Because when you have a list and you know that it's going to meet your needs for the week, you don't end up accumulating the maybe just in case items.
Yeah.
Right. So
these templates are available to you if you're watching this video.
Oh yes. Please tell us about where. So I think I'll probably post them wherever I post my video.
So it should be right there.
But if I don't, you'll see on the bottom is Leah's website.
Yep. On learningtolivewell.tv. And I'll put it on my website, probably in the post about it, which is...
Is that one of your blog posts?
Yeah, it's like
/your
grocery bill by 50% or something like
Yeah,
that.
she's got a great blog post that talks
can link to
about
that, too.
about this. And let's just review real quickly, like
Yes.
what this plan is. So you start with, just to
You
summarize,
start with
'cause this is what's on your
inventory.
website.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's inventory, then you plan it, and then you
Right.
go from your plan to make your list, which is generally in the second half of the
Right.
page.
And you just start, so you're literally, I mean, for me, I'm like looking at my inventory or looking at, and with my cookbook there, because I like the cookbook, and literally I just like put the item on. Oh, this is the other thing that I wanted to say, which is that I put the item on the menu and I put the page number and the book so that I don't have to hunt down what page it's on when it comes time to cook. And then I'm like looking at the recipe, and then I just start writing down items on the lower half of the sheet on the grocery list. And my other thing that I wanted to share actually was that what I've been doing at the end of the week is just circling and highlighting the recipes that rocked out in our house. So it's the real, like, we all love this recipes. And I've been punching holes and I'm putting them in a binder. And that's just, I like the kind of, you do this on the computer or something, but you could do it either way. But, oh, you put yours in a binder too?
No, I have them all I do it on my computer and I keep them all.
That's
so
very
I
organized.
have all of them.
All of your weekly
every
plans. And then you can go back by date, or at least, you know, I'm organizing mine like just kind of sequentially through the year, you know, front to back or whatever. Actually, I got dividers, a set of 12 dividers for my binder, so I can have one per month. We'll see if I actually how much I use it. But I thought that was good because, you know, you kind of eat seasonally. You know, you plan menus a bit seasonally, so that made sense to me. So to have these, these little highlighted.
I'm reading that. It looks like a really good recipe.
Yeah, cauliflower, that was really good. Cauliflower and mushroom pot pie. Spinach linguine. Oh, this was actually really good. Yeah, I have to tell you. Spinach linguine with basil, cilantro, pesto. I mean, it kind of says it all right there, with artichokes out of a jar.
That sounds delicious.
It's really good.
Delicious. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you need more guidance, if you think that this is a really cool system and you want to know more, you can always contact me. My email address is at the bottom of the template. It's leah@onlearningtolivewell.tv. And I do one-on-one coaching, both just through this system, which is a 2-month program to really give you the basics. I come in and start making the menu templates for you, and then you start doing it yourself. And by the end of 8 weeks, you really don't need to talk to me anymore. And the other thing that I do, I'll put this here, is my general food empowerment course, which is really wonderful if you have a problem with being overweight or underweight. Some of my clients have histories of undereating as well, or just want to have a really comfortable and delicious relationship with food. And the people that I've worked with, it's just amazing to see the transformation that they go through from being frazzled and overwhelmed with what you should be eating. There's so much information about nutrition out there that just to be able to relax around that whole issue and take that part of your life, just take the stress out of that part of your life and throw it away and just never worry about that again.
Yeah, if there's one piece I wish we could do in the video is that, like, you know, hold your hand. So just sitting down and doing it is kind of the next step. That's your homework. Don't just watch this video.
Get your templates.
Start putting some things on there.
Look at what you like. Really pay attention to the food that you love to eat and make it your own. And change it however it suits you, because we all have our own idiosyncrasies.
Right. Excellent. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you. This is so much fun.
Yes. Food empowerment.
So good.